The construction of the ambitious and controversial project, the Line, has begun. It will be a mega-city and the largest project in Saudi Arabia, perhaps in the world. Drone videos recently shared on social media in the region show excavators digging in the middle of the desert, already shaping the construction. When the Line was announced in 2017, it impressed the world with various plans that were considered impossible. Many professionals questioned the project, and over the course of these 5 years, people were convinced that it was just a copy taken from a science fiction movie that would never be built. However, today the plan is already advancing rapidly, but it still raises doubts. In this video, you will see the details of the project and its construction, but before that, please leave your like and subscribe to the channel to support our project on YouTube. Despite the posted videos, there is hardly any information about what was actually happening in the construction area. The Line will have a length of 170 kilometers, a height of 500 meters, and a width of 200 meters. However, the excavated width does not seem to correspond to the promised measurements. This is because when looking at the project images, it is easy to notice sub-projects that require a lot of space, such as sports complexes. The actual width would be 3 times the current size. Therefore, there are reasons to believe in the hypothesis that this first excavation would be the preparation for the high-speed transport system, built along the length of the city, which would help transport materials and people initially for faster development. Designed to accommodate 9 million people, the city will operate entirely on renewable energy sources, including wind and solar parks. And the water used will come from a desalination plant that will have zero carbon emissions in its process. All of this, along with a super-fast train, will eliminate the need for any other vehicles. Thus, the city will not have roads and will be completely sustainable. The proposal states that all daily activities and services would be reachable within 5 minutes of each individual, and high-speed transit would not take more than 20 minutes from one end to the other. Another plausible hypothesis is that the construction will be done gradually, and depending on the demand they would extend the length if necessary, which would make the project more realistic and easier to build. However, if they were to build everything at once, these goals are currently impossible. To support this type of project, the Line requires a large number of people to economically sustain its infrastructure. Additionally, it is not clear if the technology for the transportation system already exists to travel 170 kilometers in 20 minutes. That would essentially be a speed of 320 miles per hour, surpassing the existing high-speed performance of the world's fastest public train. Located in China, the Shanghai Maglev has an impressive speed of 268 miles per hour, using a unique magnetic levitation method instead of common steel wheels. Theoretically, the Hyperloop technology being developed by Elon Musk, with a speed of 670 miles per hour, could help with the journey. However, even this mechanism will take time to be fully developed, considering all the innovation involved. The country's desert climate is another obstacle. Its extreme heat outside the mirrored building can be reflected into the surrounding area, which will likely worsen the temperature around the development. It can cause the heating of any object, as has already happened in London, where an inclined skyscraper reflected the sun onto the street, increasing the temperature of the area and even melting the bodywork of a parked car. Environmental planning experts also criticize the project because the mirrored line will interrupt bird flight, displace wildlife, and disrupt the flow of soil and water. Considering the enormous size of the line, it would be impossible to construct a 500-meter building emitting low levels of carbon, both in the structure's formation process and in the production of its materials. Despite being free of greenhouse gas emissions and operating on 100% renewable resources, its construction would produce over 1.8 billion tons of carbon dioxide. That is equivalent to the annual emissions of the entire country of Brazil, including deforested areas, nuclear power plants, and other sources. Before seeing its completion, Saudi Arabia will have to address internal and external problems, as well as financial and technological issues. The country's biggest economic challenge is that it has not been very successful in attracting financial resources and investments from foreign governments and companies. One justification is that non-Middle Eastern countries are boycotting the Saudis in their various projects, primarily due to human rights negligence. The initial plan estimated that it would be completed by 2030, with an approximate cost of $500 billion. However, some reports have stated that the city may not be completed until 2050, which would likely significantly increase the costs. It has been estimated that the entire project will cost the kingdom $1 trillion. This future city is still in the early stage of development, but there is certainly doubt as to whether the 170 kilometers of the metropolis will become a reality. To give you an idea, about 40,000 workers built the Three Gorges Dam in China, which took 17 years to complete and had a height of 180 meters and a length of only 2.3 kilometers, which is a dollhouse compared to the line. What do you think about this mega project? Please leave your opinion, like, subscribe to the channel, and watch our other videos.